Right, coming up, the ANC's National Working Committee meets to discuss the fallout from Section 89 panel report on the Phala Phala saga. The Forum of Opposition Political Parties says it wants to hold President Cyril Ramaphosa accountable in relation to the Phala Phala farm saga. Dr. Levi Ndau weighs in on this. Right, welcome live from our studios in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. Thank you for tuning in. You are watching The Week Ahead. You can interact with us on our social media platforms using hashtag The Week Ahead or at The Week Ahead. I'm your host for today, Lisa Wilson. Let's go straight into it. We start off with the ANC's National Working Committee will discuss the fallout from the Section 89 panel report on the Phala Phala saga when it meets this afternoon. The party's National Executive Committee will meet tomorrow morning following the adjournment of its meeting on Friday. Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa is considering the possibility of taking the report on legal review. It's found that he may have a case to answer to regarding the Phala Phala farm robbery in 2020.
The President is seriously considering taking the Section 89 panel report on review. It may be in the long-term interest and sustainability of our constitutional democracy, well beyond the Ramaphosa presidency, that such a clearly flawed report is challenged.
Now, the Forum of Opposition Political Parties says it wants to hold President Cyril Ramaphosa accountable in relation to the Phala Phala farm saga. The forum consists of 11 organizations represented in South Africa's parliament. The forum released a statement following its meeting in Ekurhuleni in Gauteng, where the move comes hot on the heels of the release of the Section 89 expert panel report, which found, among other things, that the president may have a case to answer to in the Phala Phala matter, where US dollars were allegedly stolen from the president's Limpopo farm. The Forum of the Opposition Parties comprises of the DA, the EFF, the IFP, the ACDP, UDM, the NFP, ATM, COPE, FF+, as well as the PAC. They have unanimously agreed the Tuesday sitting of Parliament should ensure that an impeachment committee is set up. For more on this, we are joined by political analyst Dr. Levi Ndau. A very good afternoon to you, Dr. Levi. Thank you for joining us here on the SABC.
Good afternoon to you, Lisa. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get into the developments and what's happening. Will ultimately this debate yield any results? What's going to be the impact of these results on the president as we head to the conference?
Well, I think already we have observed the impact, even though there appears to have been a step back, because it appears as if the president had decided to resign. But there are things that we need to look at, which is that the ANC post-Nasrec has not been able to come together, especially the different factions, and have one united party. The ANC has not been able to manage divisions within its ranks. And even though there were stories similar to this one, you would always have certain leaders of the ANC expressing themselves in a particular way. What I'm trying to say is that the ANC remains divided from the day they left the Nasrec conference in 2017. And whatever expression you get towards the conference would have very little impact, especially when Ramaphosa has not decided to resign. But what I expect the ANC to do as they go to conference, they might have developed as many strategies as possible to unite. I think it is not enough. They need to develop much better strategies with timeframes in order for them to be able to sing in one voice and actually unite. As we go to conference, if Ramaphosa is standing, he has been nominated by a lot of branches. He appears to be having a lot of support inside the ANC, and the possibilities that he will still have to continue as the president of the ANC come the conference of the ANC. But beyond that, you need the ANC that should have specific time to deal with matters of unity rather than what we see happening now.
So then on the back of that, as we look at the opposition party's strategy of, the vote of no confidence against President Ramaphosa, what are the chances of this actually unfolding? How would you paint that picture going forward come Tuesday?
Well, I think this is the opportune time for the opposition to come together and ensure that, of course, there is accountability, and of course, they ensure that if they want to remove the president from office, there is no other better opportunity than this one. And it's quite interesting that the opposition in South Africa has a forum in which they're able to sit down and discuss issues. And if the opposition might miss this opportunity, I don't see any other opportunity coming for the opposition. But on the other hand, you have got people from different sectors of society, from the legal profession, observers, and many other ordinary members of society who appear to be saying that there appears to be something wrong with the report. I don't think the opposition parties are interested in the loopholes that other people have identified in the report. What the opposition is interested in, which is in the nature of opposition parties, is to ensure that those that are in power, that they don't want them to lead, should actually be removed. But if we have to look at the question of the motion of no confidence, it might be proposed by the opposition. But if the ANC is united in support of its president, I don't see that motion succeeding. Another aspect is that the ANC has a good history of protecting its leaders. So if the ANC is not in support of that motion, I don't see that motion succeeding. Also looking at the numbers that the ANC has in parliament.
So in vowing perhaps to hold accountability, there have been calls for secret ballot when Parliament casts its vote on Phala report. And I wonder what the likelihood of this to happen. How would you weigh in on that?
Well, it will be another strategy that the opposition has to use, because the opposition might also be convinced that there could be some within the ANC who would also love to see the president vacate his office, who are also part of parliament. So the decision to request a secret ballot might be informed by such factors. What I don't see is the proposal of a secret ballot being proposed this week and then it actually succeed immediately. Unfortunately, the possibility is that the speaker might say, if we have to go for a secret ballot, I am not granting it, or I will have to consult, which will actually have to take days for that to be implemented. And of course, that is exactly what the opposition will not be interested in.
Exactly, and that's where the processes and methodology really, again comes to the fore. I wonder, as we look at the president taking the report and review, is this a good stance on his side? And ultimately, what does it mean for the country?
Well, firstly, Lizel, there are people who have already indicated that there appears to be some serious flaws in the report. And as a constitutional democracy in South Africa, we abide by the rule of law, and everybody has his or a rights to exercise. And of course, if the president has to opt for a review, it actually takes all of us back to square one. It might then stall the processes that the opposition is actually talking about. It's also a process that, of course, might not happen in the shortest space of time. We'll therefore have to wait a little bit longer. And that would be frustrating, especially to those who wanted to see the president leave now. But equally, he will be exercising his right as an individual, as enshrined in the Constitution, to actually take the matter for review if he actually feels that it has to happen. And I think equally, it will also give him and his party, the ANC, an opportunity to strategize around this matter on what would be the best step to take as they move forward.
Dr. Levi, just very quickly in conclusion, what then is the best thing the president can do at this point, both for the party, perhaps also for the country at large?
Well, the president has got many options at his disposal. The unfortunate part is that is the president of the ANC, is the president of the Republic, is also an individual who has got family and friends surrounding him. And I think he had actually taken a decision himself, if we have to look at the reports that are actually coming, that he had actually decided to resign. And those that went and advised him not to do so, the emphasis is on the interest of the country. It appears as if there are those, and many people within the ANC and some outside the ANC were saying that if he resigns now, he might have abandoned the country. And there are those who are feeling that it will be best for the country for him to stay on, take the matter for review, and maybe that will give the ANC a chance to be able to process this report and then come with a better solution. My expectation is that even though that the ANC still has to meet, they need to be very sober, and whatever decision that they take should be in the best interest of South Africa. And at the end of the day, we should see democracy in action, but South Africa has to prosper for the future.
Well, all eyes will be on the developments that set to unfold, perhaps not even limited to the country. We'll leave the conversation there for now. And thank you very much, Dr. Levi Ndau, for your time. Dr. Levi Ndau is political analyst weighing in on the Forum of Opposition Political Parties, saying that they have made a vow to hold President Cyril Ramaphosa accountable, made up of 11 organizations, unanimously agreeing that Tuesday's sitting of Parliament should ensure that impeachment committee is in fact set up. So again, a story we'll continue to monitor here on the SABC. On that note, we are going to move on to other news now. Let's take you to Nasrec, where the ANC's National Working Committee will discuss the fallout from the Section 89 panel report on the Phala Phala saga. This is where we find our political reporter, Samkele Maseko. Good afternoon to you, Samkele. Thank you for joining us. Perhaps you can walk us through some of the main focus areas of the National Executive Committee meeting today, amongst other issues.
The one issue that is on the agenda of the National Working Committee that will be taking place from 2 o'clock this afternoon here at the Nasrec Expo Center, as you can see, it's still not yet a hive of activity. Very few people have actually arrived. It's only the support staff of the ANC that is currently here at Nasrec Expo Center. We also do anticipate that the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, who is the president of the party, may also grace the National Working Committee with his presence, particularly knowing that the National Executive Committee of the ANC said that he has to be present in these deliberations over the Section 89 panel report over his Phala Phala farm. The NWC will only scrutinize, will only debate, and will only make recommendations to the National Executive Committee, Special NEC, that will sit tomorrow in the morning from 10 o'clock, where a decision will first be made on the way and the course of action that the ANC will then take on matters pertaining to this Section 89 report. What happens to the political future of President Cyril Ramaphosa as head of state, and ultimately going towards the 55th National Conference of the ANC. There are those whom have come out within the National Executive Committee of the party to say that he must leave. There are those whom have said that he must stay on, and he is seemingly being energized to stay on as the President of the Republic of South Africa and to fight his political detractors, in the words of those whom are his political lieutenants and his right-hand men and women within the National Executive Committee of the structures and the leadership of the ANC.
Samkele, with the National Working Committee passing on its recommendations to the NEC, when is the country likely to know the party's position on the Phala Phala panel report?
South Africa will most likely to know the decision being taken by the NEC tomorrow afternoon once the NEC is done and a decision has ultimately been taken. We do know that the president of the ANC has been called by the NEC to form part of this NEC meeting. He will definitely be coming. His staff also at this point in time, I want to read a specific message that was sent by those who work with President Ramaphosa in relation to him and not being present within the National Executive Committee meeting of the African National Congress. That, let me just find that particular comment by those who work with President Cyril Ramaphosa pertaining to the issue of why the president was not part of the ANC-NEC meeting last week that was supposed to take place on Friday. The message essentially reads, quote, on the attendance of the special NEC, the president spoke with Mr. Mashatile. They agreed that since the president was going to be the subject of discussion, it's best that he does not attend the meeting. He flew back into Pretoria on Thursday night. If he was required to be at the NEC, it would take no less than 25 minutes for him to avail himself. The impression that he snubbed the NEC is wrong and mischievous. He opened his entire weekend to engage various structures of the ANC and the alliance, end of quote. That is from someone who works with President Cyril Ramaphosa in the union buildings and also within the structures of the ANC. We're not sure, we can't divulge the person's name, but it is one of those who work with President Ramaphosa who clearly stipulated that the president did not snub the NEC of the ANC on Friday, and he was just a mere 25 minutes away from the venue. If he was required to come by the NEC or called upon to be present, he would have availed himself. But I'm going to bring in now Mr. Carl Niehaus, who is protesting here outside Nasrec Expo Center. Mr. Carl Niehaus, you've been very clear in your call for the president of the ANC and the country to go. Do you still maintain that stance? And what's the next course of action if he doesn't go?
I absolutely maintain my stance. Cyril Ramaphosa is terrible for the African National Congress and terrible for our country. He must go. The reason why I'm here is to picket to call on the National Working Committee of the ANC. That committee is apparently meeting today. We don't even know if they will eventually meet because they keep on dithering and postponing. First, the NEC was supposed to meet. They were supposed to meet on Friday, they were supposed to meet on Saturday, they were supposed to meet today. They seem to be running all over the show because they don't have a backbone. They're not prepared to stand up to Cyril Ramaphosa because many of them are in the pockets of Cyril Ramaphosa. And I hear you gave the propaganda that Ramaphosa did not snub the NEC. I was here.
Mr. Niehaus, let's not say it's propaganda because clearly I'm reading a message from those whom are our sources. So
okay,
don't
I'm
insult us by saying
you.
That it's propaganda,
I'm
please.
not attacking you. I'm giving you the facts. I was here. I stood here. I saw members of the NEC coming from all over the country. They dedicated the whole day to it. They sat here for close to 2 hours waiting on Cyril Ramaphosa. There were contradicting messages in this NEC from Gwede Mantashe and from Paul Mashatile about why he was not here. The real evidence that I hear was that he wasn't 25 minutes away, he was actually in Cape Town. So for us to say that Cyril Ramaphosa did not snub the NEC, he did. The NEC should have taken strong action. They should have sat. They know that they can take a decision also in his absence. And as I've said before, what they should have done, they should have passed a resolution firing him from his position as the president of the ANC. They could have WhatsApped him the message that he can leave.
Mr. Niehaus, have you done your groundwork when it comes to NEC members pushing in your favor for the president of the country to be removed and ultimately for Cyril Ramaphosa to go as the president of the ANC?
Yes, obviously we are engaging with members of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. I'm sad to say that there seem to be many of those NEC members of the ANC that are weak, that are not prepared to take a stance. We commend those who do take a stand and are prepared to say that Cyril Ramaphosa must go. I sincerely hope that today and tomorrow, today in the NWC, tomorrow in the National Executive Committee of the ANC, those NEC members will be able to conjure up the courage, grow a backbone, stand up and say to Cyril Ramaphosa, you have plunged the African National Congress with this Phala Phala Farmgate scandal into infamy, and you must go. It is a simple message. It is not difficult for them to do. They've done it before, twice with 2 other ANC presidents. They know exactly what to do. And if they had the guts, if they were not in his pocket, they would have done it long ago.
Mr. Nyas, so you are saying that the ANC president and the head of state currently enjoys majority support within the NEC?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that NEC members, even those who know that President Ramaphosa has to go, sometimes fail because of politics of the stomach rather than politics of principle. So we now call on those NEC members to act with politics of principle. And if they act with politics of principle, there will be a majority in the National Working Committee today and in the NEC tomorrow to kick Cyril Ramaphosa out.
Thank you very much. That is Mr. Carl Niehaus, who is picketing outside Nasrec Expo Center, calling on the president of the ANC and the president of the country to go. The NWC starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon, where they will deliberate on this report and make recommendations to the National Executive Committee of the ANC, which will ultimately take a decision tomorrow on the fate and the direction the ANC will take in regards to responding to the report, and also on the fate of the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, who is seemingly has been convinced by his allies not to resign as the head of state.
All right, we'll leave the conversation there. Thank you very much for that update. Our senior politics reporter, Samkele Maseko, giving us an update from Nasrec, the ANC's National Working Committee, discussing the fallout from Section 89 panel report on the Phala Phala saga. We'll leave that there for now. Take a quick ad break. There is more news and updates on the other side upon return. We'll be right back.
This December is one to remember. Come on, everyone, join us and let's make it fun and memorable together on SABC.
It's okay to talk about it, and it is also part of healing.
Most exciting tennis in the world. We want to celebrate with all of you.
We are setting the pace for your festive season celebrations with our diverse range of music specials and concerts on offer. Comedy for full-on belly laughter. Cooking shows to help you flex your stirring and braaiing skills.
Food is a big affair in our family.
Lekker beker for chocolate pudding. Yes!
We have something to bring excitement to the entire family.
How's the family? Good? All right.
Oh, special announcement.
Our kids and family movies will keep everyone, including those awkward in-laws and weird cousins, entertained.
Do you understand me? Yes, yes. Good.
And just when you thought we were done, the FIFA World Cup in Qatar wraps up what has been an incredible year in entertainment. Remember, you can catch all of this on SABC 1, 2, S3, including our sports channels. How is that for an exciting festive season to remember?
Now that's entertainment!
SABC, everywhere, for everyone, always.
All right, welcome back. The week ahead with myself, Liesl Wilson, continues. On Monday, the 5th of December, the Nelson Mandela Foundation and Joburg City Parks and Zoo will commemorate the 9th anniversary of the passing of Nelson Mandela. Over the years, the event has been marked through dialogue on critical issues and social issues for that matter. However, this year the celebration will be marked with an opening of a park in the Riverlea community. The park will stand in honor of Nelson Mandela's legacy and the values that he embraced. Perhaps for this and more, joining us is Sylvia Graham, an analyst at the Nelson Mandela Foundation. Sylvia, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on the SABC.
Afternoon, Liesl. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been 9 years since the passing of the struggle stalwart Nelson Mandela. And I wonder, this is the first project to be held by the foundation since his passing. Perhaps you could walk us through what's transpiring on that end.
Yes, this year is 9 years since Madiba has passed. Traditionally, the Nelson Mandela Foundation has marked the passing of Madiba through dialogue engagements, mostly held at the foundation. So this year, we thought of locating the commemoration of Nelson Mandela in our Mandela Day and Outreach program. The program this year is hinged on 3 pillars, the first of which is supporting community and home-based gardens. The second is promoting the planting of trees. And the third is positive climate action. So we have identified our second pillar, which is the planting of trees, to mark and commemorate the passing of Madiba and really highlight that work. Through the work that we've done through the Nelson Mandela Day campaign, we have come to learn and engage on a term called the Tree of Hope. And we thought it befitting to highlight this notion that we've come across as we've planted trees across the country. As we conclude the tree planting, there's often an opportunity to plant a tree collaboratively with different stakeholders. And we thought it fitting to really highlight that notion that we've come across through the work that we've done this year, partner with Joburg City Parks and launch that park, but mostly promote the planting of trees within the community of Rivoli.
Okay, so Sylvia, perhaps you could talk to us about the official opening at the Yukske Park in Rivoli in honor of Utata Madiba. I'm asking this because perhaps you could also divulge what the community there expects and how they actually stand to benefit from all of this as well.
Yes, so we learned of the park through our partnership with Joburg City Parks. They have recently upgraded that facility and are looking to hand it over to the community. We also had the honor of, or the opportunity to engage with the community through a public participation program and learned that the community is really looking forward to receiving this park and planting trees. I'm sure many of us are aware of the green divide that exists within Johannesburg. The north of Johannesburg is quite green and lush, whereas the south is not necessarily the case. So this park and the planting of trees within that locality really offers us an opportunity to bring some sort of parity in terms of the greening project that we are engaged with along with partners. But the community is looking forward to receiving this park. We've learned that they've already started using the facility, and the planting of trees within that park will also bring some additional value to that space that Joburg City Parks has invested in.
Speaking of which, the park will obviously become symbolic, a symbolic home for one of the 1 million tree campaign, which aims to promote environmental justice and food security whilst mitigating the impact of climate change. And these are sentiments that you alluded to. And I wonder, with this happening to commemorate the 9th year of his passing, what mechanisms will the foundation also put in place to make sure that this project, stands the test of time?
Thank you so much for that question. Sustainability is something that we are really grappling with. And I think through the partners that we've chosen, we're able to sustain interventions within communities. Joburg City Parks is a powerful stakeholder that will be able to assist us to maintain that space and maintain the reach within the community. We've also identified 2 community gardens within the area, one located at the community center and the other at the local school. And with that, we've partnered with the Green Development Foundation, who have been supporting our work as subject matter experts in agriculture and conservation work, as well as the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, to assist us as we lay the foundation of those community gardens, but also bring along the capacity building and education that is necessary in order to capacitate members of the community that will be working in those gardens to ensure that as soon as we pull out as an entity, those projects are able to be sustained and owned by the communities that they seek to benefit.
All right, thank you very much for that update. Perhaps in conclusion, other than this project, what other activities has the foundation planned and what will be taking place?
We have the annual walk and run that will be happening in Pretoria on the 11th of December. And so that will also be part of the commemorative work toward commemorating the passing of Madiba.
All right, Sylvia, thank you very much for joining us here on the SABC, perhaps also giving us the latest there. Monday, the 5th of December, Nelson Mandela Foundation and Joburg City Parks and Zoo commemorate the 9th anniversary of the passing of Nelson Mandela. We'll leave that conversation there and take a quick ad break. There is more on the other side when we return. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We continue now. Storm has damaged some houses at Mogolopoto village just outside Tzaneen in Limpopo. Roofs are blown off whilst walls collapsed at some homes. A school and a local church have also been affected. SABC News reporter Bimani Baloy and video journalist Gif Khanyago has more.
I'm now in the homestead of Miss Rashia Pago, who is one of the affected families. As you can see behind me, her roof was partially blown off and furniture inside that house is right now soaked to the end. And she's one of many residents in this village who are currently facing this situation. I'm going to speak to her right now just to find out how she's feeling. Mawe, your name is again, and what happened last night?
My name is Rashia Mpulwan. I'm staying here at Mogolopoto. It was round about 4 when I saw the lightning just started to be the lightning. I was busy sitting down watching the TV. Then after that, there is a lightning, a big lightning and a big storm. Then I ran to my room where I was sleeping. Then I saw, when I just want to hide on the bed, then I just see the roof just go. And then when the roof go, I wonder what's going on. Maybe, I don't know what's going on. Then I failed to hide myself under the bed, but I just took the blanket, 3 blankets, and then hide on the bed. There comes the bricks on top of me. Luckily, they didn't hit my head; it just hit on my body. Then after that, the rain just go through, and then when I look at the rain at the road, I can see, there's a lot of water is coming. I don't know where when I just trying to phone my neighbors, there's no one who's answered the phone the way it was raining. And then inside my house, I've got a damage.
Let's speak about you sleeping in this. How did you sleep? Did you have children in the house? I understand you say, fortunately, you were not hit on your head, but it looks like there were bricks that hit your body. How are you feeling? How did you manage to sleep? Were there people in the house with you?
I was alone inside, and then yesterday, really, I didn't sleep. I just sit on the couch and then just do like this. I didn't sleep last night until I wake up early in the morning. I have no place to sleep. All the blankets is wet. All the wardrobe is in the water. Even now, still in the water. Then I don't know if it's raining tonight. What is going to happen? I don't know.
Is there any help that you've gotten so far?
There's no one who can come and help to fix my roof, because you can see this roof, it needs the person who's gonna do the roof again. The one they fix their roof is the flat house. They can take out this one for me is the Scotch roof, and then I want someone who's gonna fix it for me. I'm still looking for one. I just found the other one, which is gonna come and give me the quotation so that I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight. Really, I don't have. I'm gonna sleep again on the couch.
I saw your furniture inside soaked. Let's talk about damages. How do you estimate how much you've lost in this rain? And should it rain again, your furniture will just be out in the open?
I don't know what is gonna do. The damage is too expensive. I don't know how I'm going to estimate how many damage I've got in my house, because the wardrobe, the bed, you can see my bed I just put in like this, but it's still on the water. If it's rain tonight, it's going to all my wardrobe and the bed is going to damage. I'm not just going to take it and throw it away. It's not going to help.
Right, so in other news now, law enforcement agencies are stepping up the fight against cross-border crime between South Africa and Zimbabwe. Crimes such as the smuggling of stolen goods and vehicles, as well as illicit cigarettes, are on the increase at the Beitbridge border post. Members of the South African Police Service, the SANDF and Border Management Authority intercept smuggled vehicles almost every day. Confiscated vehicles are also being kept at the Musina military base.
Brazen, dangerous and unswerving, smugglers of stolen goods and vehicles persist in their criminal activities. The porous border around Malala Drift outside Musina is used as a conveyor belt for smuggled goods. Most of the vehicles are believed to have been either stolen or hijacked in Gauteng. New strategies and methods are constantly devised to elude the ever-roving eye of law enforcement agencies. Even the mighty and crocodile-infested Limpopo River is not a deterrent. After an attempt to smuggle this luxury pickup out of South Africa hit a snag due to an overflowing Limpopo River, smugglers were nabbed by police, stripping it down to nothing. While the challenge seems insurmountable, police say the usually armed and cunning smugglers will soon meet their Waterloo.
In terms of policing, we have got the operational responsibility to curb cross-border crimes, such as smuggling of illicit goods, your cigarettes, smuggling of stolen vehicles. So we are doing that in conjunction with other agencies. We've been succeeding. From the 1st of July up to September, we managed to confiscate about 21 vehicles, and we have arrested 43 suspects and confiscated a lot of illicit cigarettes as well as explosives.
Mujapilo has also hailed the role played by community members in cracking down on cross-border crime. Last week, 6 police officers stationed at Chamutumbu police station outside Musina were arrested for alleged involvement in cigarette smuggling. The arrest followed numerous complaints from community members at villages along the border.
It's a challenge, but we've got communities on our side. We continue getting information on these activities. That's why we managed to arrest 6 of our own. Now recently they appeared in Musina Magistrate Court on Monday.
Villages such as Malare, Inyani, near Musina have had to bear the brunt of cross-border crime for years. Residents say they live in fear as they frequently witness these crimes. 2 years ago, a mentally challenged man was murdered after witnessing a transaction involving illegal cigarettes at the nearby Chungani village.
These things is very bad. Always when we are here, sometimes like now, my car is there at the car wash. So I'm afraid just to move to other side, because when I come back, I can find that my car is gone. And when my car is crossed the river, it's gone already. I can't find it again.
We must find more soldiers, more police from different areas to come and work under this villages, just because the smuggling, pathing of the cars to Zimbabwe, border jumping, everything is there. But if they are there and they are here to work, that simply means that they will make sure, or they will definitely make sure there's nothing comes unlikely.
Meanwhile, 2 trucks transporting stolen vehicles were intercepted at the Beitbridge border post on Tuesday. I'm Rutando Bobori for SABC News in Musina.
Right, so Eskom has upped its rolling blackouts to stage 4 until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. The power utility said that last night further breakdowns had necessitated the stage 4 load shedding. Eskom spokesperson Sigonati Manchancha says that it was being implemented to conserve the limited diesel stocks and to create space to replenish the dam levels in the pumped storage schemes. Well, but the festive lights at the Sun City Resort near Rustenburg in the northwest have been switched on to highlight the beginning of the 2022 festive season. The resort's annual festive lights switch on event took place for the first time since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The festive season is officially on our doorsteps, with Christmas being just a few days away. The Sun City Resort has welcomed the festive season with Christmas carols. And this may not be enough to kick in the festive mood, but something more spectacular could do the trick. The Sun City Resort says it is a welcome relief to celebrate the festive season without any restrictions in 3 years, something they say should not be taken for granted.
We're super blessed to have returned also almost to full trading, however obviously in the absence of the international markets, and we're starting to see some real good positive signs out of the international markets. We're starting to see some increases in airlift to various locations. We've got Delta now flying into Cape Town, so the international airlift which drives our international tourism is starting to return. But from a domestic point of view, I really can't complain. We've been truly blessed, and South Africans have heeded the call to take a short left.
Those in attendance, both the young and the old, were already in the festive mood.
I'm feeling the festive season. I'm feeling Christmassy.
It's been 2 years since COVID. Everything was shut down. How does it feel like now?
It feels back to normal. There was a time that we think things were going to stay like that forever, but it's fun being back like it was.
The opening of festivities, of happenings, and the kids, of course, it's just amazing and heartwarming to see them come out. Our workers, everybody here in Sun City, and a feeling of togetherness. It's my first time after many years, and I've never seen something like this.
While the festive season is associated with family time, for others, it's a reminder of family members they lost. Those who lost loved ones to the COVID-19 pandemic were also remembered.
Yes, we have lost people. In our family we had a loss, but I think it's time to overcome that. And despite the very difficult political circumstances that we seem to find ourselves in right now, South Africans as a nation and as a people, when we are most challenged, we are at our most powerful. And I think that's the message.
Here at the Sun City Resort, the somber atmosphere has given way to a festive mood as demonstrated by the festive lights switch on. As holiday makers prepare to depart to various destinations, we wish the SABC viewers a happy and safe festive season. Selwane Khachau, SABC News, Rustenburg.
Right, we're going to take a quick ad break. There is more on the other side upon our return. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. In other news now, the search for 15 people who are believed to have drowned during a baptism in Bramley Park along the Yixkay River has resumed. 2 people drowned to death, whilst one was treated for injuries and rushed to a health facility. It's believed that 15 more went missing during the incident. SABC News reporter Mbalenhle Mtetwa joins us live with the latest. Mbali, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I dare say good afternoon. Perhaps you could just walk us through the latest on the search. What is currently transpiring on your end?
Well, Lisa, we received an update from EMS spokesperson Robert Mulaudzi, who has informed us that the death toll has increased from 2 to 9. We understand that there are 7 bodies inside the fire station where we are. Family members have also started arriving, but the 7 bodies plus the 2 bodies that were discovered yesterday brings the total death toll to 9. Now, we understand that EMS Services is trying to locate the family members of those that they have found in the rescue mission. Family members are arriving here in drips and drabs. We do understand that there were some who were waiting where the search operations were being carried out, and it seems everyone has now been asked to come here. I'm just going to step out of the shot so you can see the family members over here, and we're going to ask my camera colleague to also just pan around just to show you the visuals behind him, just of more family members over here. So it seems as though the numbers are growing in terms of family members that are here to get the latest and hear about, and get an update really, and possibly identify some of the bodies that have been brought here. We have spoken to one or two family members who have been willing to speak to us off camera, and what they say is that the wait has been rather painful and for them as family members, because all they want to know is what has happened to their family members and if they're going to be recovered and if they're going to be found alive. It's a very sad moment. The mood is really sad here. Family members are devastated, and some say they haven't slept a wink since they heard about the incident yesterday. It's back to you in studio.
Mbalenhle, perhaps you could just take us back and give us an update in terms of the cause of the incident. What really has been ruled in that regard, and who takes responsibility for this?
Well, according to the update that we received from Robert Mulaudzi, 33 congregants were at a river to perform a religious ritual, which is absolutely normal. However, unfortunately, it seems as though there was a flash flood, which then swept away many of the congregants and led to the immediate death of 2 congregants and the disappearance of 15. We understand that the search for the remaining bodies or the remaining congregants continue. It's unclear where they'll be found, because it seems as though when the flash flood took place, the current swept some of them away, and we've seen emergency services really just searching the length and breadth of the Uske River. Now, the Uske River is one of those rivers that's known to overflow at times when there are flash floods or when there are heavy rains in Johannesburg. You will remember that there are instances or times where it sweeps away shacks that are built right next to the riverbanks in Alexandra, and it seems as though also this happens if in the event that there are rituals there. So we've heard Robert Mulaudzi just asking and urging our residents to exercise caution and saying that, well, they do understand as EMS services that, South Africa is a democratic country and everyone has the right to religious freedom. However, they do ask residents or congregants to exercise caution to prevent such incidents from taking place. We also understand that while the search and rescue missions were underway, it seems as though there were also other people who were there to perform similar rituals.
Mbalenhle, just quickly before we wrap up, you mentioned 33 congregants. I wonder which organization they're from, and what's been response from the organization at large at this point?
Well, unconfirmed reports suggest that they were members of the Zion Christian Church. We can't really confirm that for sure right now. This is all based on a conversation with one of the members or family members who was there to, hear the latest or listen in on the latest news and developments. So it's unclear which church these congregants were coming from.
All right, we'll leave it there. Developing story, Mbalenhle Mtetwa giving us the latest there. Search for 15 people who are believed to have been drowned during a baptism in Bramley Park along the Uske River. Again, those operations having resumed. We'll leave it there for now and take a look at other news making headlines. It's crunch time at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar as the tournament is now at knockout stages. 2 teams, Argentina and the Netherlands, have already booked their place in the quarter-finals. Last 16 matches will continue from this afternoon, and African champions will crash against England come 9 p.m. tonight. Now, to look at that fixture and other matches, we're joined via Zoom by SABC News Sports Bulletin editor Mduduzi Ndlovu. Mdu, good afternoon. Welcome back. Perhaps as we look at what has happened to date, before we jump into the last 16 fixtures, let's just go back to the last group stage matches. They produced some shocking results, didn't they? How would you weigh in on that?
Yes, house matches were something else. I am players. Always been there. I look at Japan. Japan has been the player in tournament so far. Beating whatever comes away. Remember that we come from behind the game. One giant is the former world champion, 2014 world champion, and that's not that's not stopping enough. They keep having that happening for the last 15. Now that we are going to see Japan playing against Croatia.
All right, Mduduzi Ndlovu is our SABC News Sports Bulletin editor. He's joining us via Zoom to weigh in on the latest with regards to the 2022 FIFA World Cup. We do seem to be having some technical difficulties, so we'll just try to get him back on the line there and to wrap up that conversation. Again, crunch time at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. We've seen this tournament now heading to knockout stages and the heat really being turned up. Mduduzi Ndlovu is joining us via Zoom. I'm going to reconvene the conversation. Perhaps let's see if we've overcome some of those technical difficulties. Mdu, if you can hear me, you're really just walking us through what has happened to get us to these knockout stages, which seems to be quite surprising given who's actually made it through at this point.
My team that has been just a giant slayer, sort of was that technical cliche earlier. Japan has been just one team that is surprising all and sundry. I'll just take you through to the market value of the teams. Japan, their squad is worth 154 million euros. And you go to Spain, Spain is worth 877 million euros. You go to a team like Germany, 886 million euros. The difference is so huge, but football is played on the field of play, and that's what Japan is telling us, and that's what Japan has been showing us.
Well, it's an expensive economy for Spain and Germany, given that, they're obviously out. And I wonder now, as we look at the last 16, Africa now only has two representatives, Morocco and Senegal, and it was a valiant fight by both Ghana and Cameroon. Despite the fact that they obviously were knocked out. So what can we then expect from other matches against Spain and England, respectively?
This evening, we are pinning our hopes on the African champions, Senegal, when they take on England at 9 o'clock. We know what happened in the group stages. They were always hoping that Sadio Mane, who was carrying them through the qualifiers, would be part and parcel of the team. But the coach, Aliou Cisse, brought something out of them, just saying to them, go out there, maybe go and represent your captain, show what he's lacking or what he's missing out here. He'll love you to go through. Now they are in the last 16. They'll be taking on England this evening. We can see surprises. Who knows? England is one squad that is assembled, and we know that there are players they play in the top flight in England. Most of them across Europe, Italy and Spain. But this is football. We are talking about football here. It's played on the field of play, like I was saying earlier about the market value. It's of no necessity when it comes to football, and when the first whistle just is blown, then all is up to the players to perform and to raise the flags of their countries.
In just a few hours, Les Bleus or France will be taking on Poland. Any surprises from that encounter, given what has transpired with some of the other teams?
So far, France have been cruising, have been doing very well. At the beginning of the tournament, many of us we thought they'll be missing the likes of N'Golo Kante, the likes of Paul Pogba and Karim Benzema, who got injured on arrival in Qatar in the training session. But it seems so far so good for them. They are not missing anyone. They are playing as a team. They are not we're relying solely on individuals. Although Kylian Mbappe has raised up his hand once again, like he did in 2018 in Russia, he's just leading from the front and scoring those goals because football is one through scoring.
Mduduzi, we're out of time. We'll leave it there. Again, SABC News Sports Bulletin editor weighing in on what we can expect as the tournament heats up, the 2022 FIFA World Cup happening in Qatar, heading to the knockout stages. That's where we're going to leave it for you today. Thank you very much for joining us. From myself and the team until next week, it's goodbye for now. Take care.